Welcome to There's a Method to the Madness. My name is Rob Maxwell. I'm an exercise physiologist and personal trainer. I'm the owner of Maxwell's Fitness Programs, and I've been in business since 1994. The purpose of this podcast is to give you the real deal, to talk about what really works, and most importantly, why it works, or why the things some people tell you to do absolutely don't work. Hence the name, Method to the Madness. All right, so I'm going to give you a rundown of the 2023 MaxFit Games this year. If you didn't go or whatever, please don't tune out, because I'm going to talk about why we do them, why we pick exercises, and why it's important to have balanced fitness. Before I get to that, let me thank our sponsors, Jonathan and Lynn Gilden of the Gilden Group at Realty Pros. They currently have over 280 five-star reviews on Zillow. They are consummate professionals in the field. Both Lynn and Jonathan have business degrees. Jonathan specialized in real estate. And as I always say, we want people that are true pros no matter what they do. If you need help with your real estate or selling, buying, whatever, give them a shout at 386-451-2412. All right. Speaking of the Gildens, so they were there yesterday, and I'll give Jonathan a shout out for winning the men's over 40 division. And he also was one of our sponsors for the games. And he and his beautiful wife and his 4 kids came, and it was really awesome to see all of them compete. And, you know, it's such a cool thing when families get involved. So that's what I want to do, is give a nice rundown of the games. We've been doing this for a long time now. I'm trying to think exactly how long. It's a long time, because the very first one, I believe we had, Joanna won, and she was little, like she was, I don't even think a teenager yet, so maybe she was 11 or something like that, and she was a spry little monkey. And Angelica's son, Sebastian, won, so that was like more of a, it was kind of like a wall climb run, spider run, like, it definitely was geared more towards the kids, but, adults entered it, but it was definitely, you had to be pretty darn agile and quick to do well. So that was a while back. We've been doing them a long time. And my premise behind them has always been to have a combination of different fitness events, because, a lot of events that are done locally or nationally, statewide, countywide, I mean, there's a lot of, say, endurance events. There's a lot of running races, especially. There's a 5K, it seems like, every weekend. And that's great. But, there's more to fitness than just running. And also on the other side of it, there's powerlifting and things like that. And, but there's not a lot where we combine the two. So that is basically what we do for the games. Now, combining endurance and strength. Now, another thing I want to bring up is we always like to have a beneficiary for it, because I really think it's important that when we're promoting fitness, that we're promoting good causes as well. That's just what I like to do, and we've had different causes through the years, and so this year, our beneficiary is Leah Klinker, and that is Ellen's daughter, who has been diagnosed with a rare form of cancer, and she's been battling that. And so far, she is winning the battle, and the prognosis has been getting better and better after her surgery. So we donated a $1,000 check to her GoFundMe account, and that was really cool to have her there to take that, and so many of our sponsors and donors and everybody contributed to that. So like I said, it was a very good, healthful day with a lot of family and, brotherhood and people having fun for a good cause. So this year's event I took it in a little different direction with the different exercises. Every year I try to perfect it. I always try to decide, well, what is really going to capture fit people? And then you have to combine like different categories, and naturally one is men and women, but then we have within the women's group, we have modified and non-modified. So there's all these different things we have to think about to try to get the right combination of exercises. You want it to be challenging, but you want enough people to be able to do things as well. And we also have time constraints. So there's a lot to put together. But you know what? This year, I think we really, really nailed it. I think the exercise choices and the order really gave us a great, great balance of what I was looking for. So we started with the run, and it was essentially 3/4 of a mile. It was 3 laps around the sidewalk that we have. And what I did with that was we were using that as seeding for the event. So if you came in first, you got to go last in all the events, so you got to see what your competitors did. That was the only way the run was scored. Now, next year, I think what I'll do is keep it that way, but use it as a tiebreaker as well. That would be a good tiebreaker. So if there is a tie at the end in points, then somebody can, if whoever won the run will win the tiebreaker. So that is something to add to it. After every event, I always get together with the team and decide what went well and what we do better. That was one of the things, but that got us off to a nice start. Following that, we went into the pull-up category. Now, men did pull-ups. Women could choose to do pull-ups, or they could hang. Now, on the pull-ups, it could be overhand or underhand. We did not care. Gave you the choice, whatever you thought you can do better. And we had 2 women go in the non-modified category. And Kelly, my ex-wife, she actually won female for the MaxFit Games, and she cranked out 13 pull-ups, which is outstanding. And Jonathan, one of our great sponsors, did 17 for the men. That was outstanding. And I believe Emily won the hang category, and that is where you simply grab the bar and hold on to it as long as you can. That takes a lot of grip strength, and I believe she did over 90 seconds, so that's really good. From there, we went into the wall sit competition. And that is so much harder than people realize. They see somebody sitting against the wall, your thighs are bent at 90 degrees, and they think, oh, that doesn't look too hard. But for many, that's the hardest event. For many, not everybody, but for many. And our record on that, it might have been 2.5 minutes, I think, was the record. And I believe Mr. Gilden won that as well. I believe Kelly won the wall sit as well, and she might have been around 2 minutes as well. That's a long time, by the way. Your thighs are on fire, and it's very counterintuitive. Like, usually in competitive athletic events, you want to kind of run, move, get out of it. But this is something, the longer the time goes, the more it hurts, yet the better for your time. So it's really hard for people to wrap their brains around. And it very much takes a lot of focus and concentration, which is another reason why it makes it a good event, because a good athlete has to be able to stay focused. So that was that. And by the way, in all the events, if you won, then you got the most points in your category. That's how that won. So let's say there was 3 in the open men division. So if you won, that means you got 3 points, and that's how it works. So after every event, we added up where somebody was, and that's how we determined the overall winner at the end. From there, so far we've challenged our endurance with running. We challenged our grip strength and our upper back pulling strength with pull-ups. We have now specifically challenged our strength system in our lower body with wall sits. So we're trying to get all the areas of the body. And then we moved into the classic push-up. So if you were non-modified women, you did standard traditional push-ups. If you're in modified women, you did them from your shins and hands. Basically, knees stay down. Men did traditional push-ups. I believe Nick Esposito won the push-up contest. I think he did 55. It was as many as you can do in a minute. And by the way, with everything we did, it was strict. It was definitely strict form. So 55 push-ups in a minute strict is really hard to do. I believe Jonathan was second, I believe, with 45, and I think Dr. Gary Frick was third with 40. I believe he was second in the wall sit, by the way. Gary was, and that was something that he'd really been training hard for, and he just despises the wall sit. It's hard. It's harder than it looks for sure. I believe Kelly got 27 push-ups standard. That is really, really cranking out some push-ups. So push-ups was a great competition. I mean, like I said, everything was flowing so smoothly. Everybody was doing so great, encouraging each other. And then we went to the final category, which we've never done before. And I think it might have been our best. And from what most of the competitors said, they said it was the hardest competition, part of the competition. And it probably is because it combines so many things. It combines strength, it combines speed, it combines endurance. And that is a farmer carry. And farmer carries can be done in different ways, but the way we did it was men carried 45-pound plates in both hands, so a total of 90 pounds. And they basically run out 125 yards and back 125 yards. They had to go around the mayor, Nancy Miller, who was one of our great volunteers. They had to circle the mayor and come back. So basically somewhere around 250 yards of running with 45-pound plates, so 90 pounds. Women held 35 in each hand, so it wasn't much lighter. They did 70 pounds, and that was tough. Mr. Nick won that event as well, and he busted it on that. I coached Nick in football years ago. He was a tremendous athlete. He just killed that. Dr. Gary Frick came in second, and Mr. Gilden Jonathan came in third for the men. I believe Kelly won the farmer's carry. That one, yes, she did, but it was very, very close. Very, very close with Jaden. It was like they were neck and neck coming across, which was pretty neat. That whole women's competition was super close the whole way. And I can't remember who exactly won for the modified, but everybody did great. I know Emily was up there. So we had different winners. We had an over 40, over 50, and overall. And as I said, Jonathan was over 40 winner. Nick Esposito was our overall winner. Dr. Gary Frick was our Masters winner, Grandmasters. Kelly won overall with Jaden being second. And, you know, I hate to say it, I forgot who was over 40 for women in the modified. I will have to get back to you on that. She was not one of my clients. I am not sure. But in any event, everybody did great. And then at the end, we had our celebration and gave out our awards, and everybody was happy. But as I said, we do it yearly, and we always give to a cause, and it becomes a community event. And we had so many great sponsors. And we really try to get so many different forms of fitness involved. My only disappointment was we had more register that didn't show up, and I don't like that. They paid their dues, but I want people to show up. We didn't have as many men this year, but we had a ton of women. It was like 3 men and 17 women, something like that. Now, we don't want too many because it's kind of a long event, or it can be a long event. We got everything done in about 90 minutes. If you get a lot of people, it takes longer, especially with the scoring. But we definitely got more. We definitely could have had more men come out and compete than we did, but I definitely appreciate everybody who did. So I hope you understand why we do the games and why it's important to kind of mix it up a little bit, because as I said, I think there's a lot of bias out there with all the 5Ks and everything, and there's just not enough of combined things. And, it's a tradition we enjoy. We were going to have it earlier in the year, but we got washed out, so we moved to November, which is pretty much was perfect with the weather. All right, so speaking of sponsors, let me thank Overhead Door at Daytona Beach, because let me tell you, they also sponsored the MaxFit Games. They were a $1,000 donator. I mean, that is really, really generous of them. And I can't say enough about Jeff and Zach Hawk, who sponsor our events, sponsor this podcast. They own Overhead Door at Daytona Beach, and they have the best garage doors in the area and the best customer service. So if you need any help with them, anything as far as needing new doors, needing quotes, or needing service, please give them a shout. They can be reached at overheaddordaytona.com.